Thank you, Carlock, and thank you, Minister, for your time and briefing. It is considered and constructive, and I truly welcome the abolition of the SHD scheme, a programme for government commitment. A core tenet of our democracy is a robust, transparent and democratic planning system, one which allows a genuine public participation to bring about good planning solutions in a timely, prescribed manner. From my 30 years' experience, my experience in the planning system, speeding this up, in my humble opinion, will put unneeded pressure on an overworked system and lead to problematic planning solutions. Currently, pre-planning applications are far exceeding the statutory timelines for consideration, where applicants are waiting over double the time. And I have personal experience of that in the last number of years. The SHD scheme has failed on many levels. It took democracy out of our planning system, which ultimately led to the unsustainable developments that materially contravened local development plans. And the only recourse that could be taken by the public in the backroom system was a move to move JRs, and anyone who disputes these actions is questioning a person's right to be heard in our democracy. And it's why I feel so many have been actioned, albeit at a great expense to these people and communities. The initial aim of the SHDs was to fast-track housing delivery, considering our housing crisis, a laudable aim, but has sadly failed. It failed to deliver the housing we were in critical need of. Based on the figures given to me by the Department, only 29% of applications granted permission actually commenced or were completed. We conducted our own research across Dublin, Cork and rural local authorities, which showed the normal planning system had a far higher rate of commencement than the SHD scheme, up to 50% in Dublin. This, considering the SHD scheme was to be considered successful if it hit 80% commencement rate. At the heart of the issue with SHDs is the fact that it created a development-led system with no genuine engagement with the local community and local government. Those best placed to make decisions on local developments were blocked out of the planning process and had to resort to the costly mechanisms of appeal decisions by An Bord Pleanála. It is therefore crucial that we don't in any way replicate the SHD system in this new large residential development scheme, and I believe the Minister is in agreement with me on this. I do have grave concerns with this bill. Firstly, this bill continues to allow material contraventions to county development plans, where An Bord Pleanála can overturn local authority decisions, section 37(2) of the Planning Act, something I believe An Bord Pleanála is using beyond its real purpose. As a former councillor who has worked tirelessly alongside colleagues to ensure all needs of the local community are encapsulated in development plans, I cannot stand behind a planning system that will undermine the work of local authorities and its councillors, and the community therefore behind them. I put down a number of amendments to improve this part of the bill, and I welcome the Minister to perhaps even consider strengthening the regulations to guide An Bord Pleanála and not to undermine the county development plans that we have. Another concern I have in with this bill is the limitations around requests for further information, which fetters local authorities' discretion to request the further information they require. The planning system, again in my opinion and experience, is very well designed and works, from my experience. Shortening this process for large-scale developments is, I believe, problematic. And I can give you an example why through the SHD scheme. Where an application is fast-tracked, the local authority, when they don't have time, will condition that development. And these conditions can hold up the commencement, and the negotiation happens post-permission instead of within it. So essentially the can is kicked down the road outside the application process, putting more pressure on planners. And I can understand that there's huge pressure on them at the minute. And again, from speaking to them, the CCMA at committee, they don't seem to think there is a problem, but it does appear there is on the ground. So I truly hope the pre-planning process, which the Minister has discussed, will mitigate this new provision of limiting FIs. As complex large developments require, in my opinion, more consideration. So I asked the Minister to give careful consideration to my concerns with this bill, because having fought hard to get rid of the SHD scheme, it would be a great disappointment and unacceptable even if the LRD or parts of it replicates the failed SHD scheme. And I understand we're in a housing crisis. However, on Bob Panola's actions allowing particular developments where they do not meet development plan goals from national to regional to local plans will leave the next generation without local facilities, school access and public transport to work. Measures need to be in place where we create communities, not unsustainable sporadic housing blighting rural Ireland and suburban communities. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.